We're in the fast lane on the road to Survivor Series, I guess. Fastlane's in October this year? Are we sure that's right? Weird scheduling aside, this looks to be WWE's second definitive B show in a row. And while Payback was a lot of fun, it was still a B show. The B shows from the first half of the year always had an extra draw to them, an extra hook, like Sami in Montreal for Elimination Chamber, Puerto Rico for Backlash, Saudi for Night of Champions, London for Money in the Bank, whereas I guess Fastlane's extra draw this year is Rhodes. As of the time of recording, there are a whole 2 matches announced for the show. But regardless, I'm going to try and fantasy book my ideal Fastlane pay-per-view. I'm Quinnell from WrestleTalk, and here are 10 fantasy booking pitches for Fastlane 2023. Before we get into it, if it's your first time here, why not subscribe to the channel, as we do a list like this every Sunday, as well as daily wrestling news videos. Now, on with the list. Number 1, LA Knight joins Cena, and Cena turns heel. While we all know, based on past history, that John Cena can overcome any numbers advantage, SummerSlam 2010 anyone, I think he might need some assistance for his, big quotes, handicap match at Fastlane. And none, as was reportedly the plan before his positive COVID test before the September 22nd SmackDown, LA Knight, will make the save and provide some backup for John. While another win for Knight would be nice, how about instead we get a real shocker of an ending, one that sees the impossible become possible and Cena turn heel on Knight. Now yes, granted, there is probably about as much chance of this happening as Omos competing in the G1, but hear me out. Cena is in the twilight of his career, so why not give the people what they want and have wanted for so long? Cena could be upset that Knight upstaged him during his career victory lap run and pledged to bury the 40-year-old before he can really get going. This could be a Hollywood Rock moment for Cena. Think of the fun that would be, leading to the two having a nice high-profile singles bout at Survivor Series where Cena can put Knight over clean, and then he can go away back to doing movies or whatever, now that the strikes appear to be ending. Number 2, Shinsuke Nakamura beats Seth Rollins. Despite feeling at the time that Rollins should have dropped his World Heavyweight title to Nakamura at Payback, WWE have, to be fair, done a great job at furthering the feud since, purely due to Nakamura's obsession with Seth degrading back health. Seth's such a broken shell of a man by this point that a loss would do little to harm him from a creative standpoint. Adding to that is the stipulation itself. Last man standing matches are of the most protective around. Rollins doesn't need to be pinned or submitted, so if there was ever going to be a timeline where Shinsuke becomes world champion in WWE, there is literally no better opportunity to make it so. Rollins can and should, of course, put up as valiant an effort as possible, even coming agonizingly close to making it back to his feet at the finish, only for his back to give out at the last second. While I can't help but feel all this punishment may just to serve Damian Priest Money in the Bank cash-in, it really shouldn't be. Judgment Day have their own stuff going on and more than enough championship gold, so please WWE, give Shin his due and give Rollins some well-earned time off. Number 3, Johnny Gargano returns and reunites DIY. As we've seen in previous record-breaking title reigns from the likes of The New Day and recently Bianca Belair, WWE does often like to swiftly bin off their champions once they've gotten over the line with a particular record. However, do not expect the same with the Ring General Gunther and his IC title reign of dreams. But that's not to say we can't get yet another classic with Ciampa first. Having now beaten both members of Imperium on back-to-back weeks of Raw, Kaiser and Vinci are most certainly going to have a hand in getting a measure of revenge against the Blackheart at Fastlane. Whether this comes as a distraction during the match, a post-match 3-on-1 beatdown, or both, Ciampa should be left outnumbered and on his back after the bell until this rebel heart, hopefully the original version, hits the speakers. Yeah, we can finally see not only the return of Johnny Gargano to TV, but also the reformation of DIY, something Ciampa has been rallying for on social media. Then we can maybe even give Johnny the next crack at Gunther's title. Number 4, Cody Rhodes does something. Literally anything. While the Brock feud provided Cody a boost to his adversity meter, does anyone else feel like Cody has just been totally wasted since losing to Roman? He sat out Payback for an appearance on the Grayson Waller effect, and now he looks set for another PLE of nothingness as he takes a backseat to Jey Uso, Sami, and KO in their war with the Judgment Day. The Babyfaces vs. Judgment Day program has honestly got pretty nauseating at this point. And sure, Jey has added something new, but it still just feels as if he and Cody are just playing back up to KO and Sami. After all, they're the ones who have the beef with Priest, Finn, and co. Cody's just been there to make the save on occasion and be a good friend. Now, I would have expected this to maybe lead to a big 8-man tag at Fastlane, but Survivor Series is just around the corner, so surely that big multi-man should wait until then? War Games? Maybe they should have him just go after Dom's North American title or something. I don't know. Maybe that would be unwise, but it's something. Anything. Just book him in a feud. Give him Jade Cargill or something. I don't care. Number 5. JD McDonough actually joins Judgment Day. Speaking of Judgment Day, after initially being shown the cold shoulder by Rhea and Priest, JD McDonough has proved to be a pretty vital ally as the weeks have gone on. With every week seeming closer to his eventual induction into the stable, Fastlane should be where all the earned goodwill is paid off, and JD joins JD officially. Now, that's not to say that it all has to be sunshine and rainbows. Priest and Rhea can still be reserved at first, but he should once again prove his value, courtesy of yet another massive win for the group. While not advertised yet, maybe Priest and Finn can face off with someone other than KO and Sami. Maybe, I don't know, Jey Uso and Cody for the tag belts this time around. A match that seems set up for a win for the unlikely team, only for McDonough to prove vital once more. Or if you wanted to get really crazy and see McDonough truly earn Priest's approval, you can have him be the one to soften Rollins up later in the night for a shock cash-in, a move that could see the jealousy grow once again from Finn. Number 6. Io Sky gets a good showing. With no sign of Rhea Ripley following her attack from Nia Jax a few weeks back, Fastlane looks set to see not a single women's match at this point in time. Now, obviously, that should not be the case. Sure, Jax versus Ripley seems like a ready-made match. WWE could let that one sit for a bit longer and instead put some well-needed PLE shine on the WWE Women's Championship instead. This is necessary on 2 fronts. 1, only one of the last 3 PLEs have featured the title, and 2, Io Sky simply deserves a chance to defend her title on the biggest shows, not just on SmackDown. Now, considering Sky just beat Asuka last week, another match being built for Fastlane is probably unlikely. But hey, it doesn't need to be anything too complex. Sky versus Asuka was predictably fantastic, so just do that again. You could add a stipulation or add Charlotte and Bayley to the fold for a multi-woman match. Just have Sky showcase what makes her such a special talent. She's your world champion! Number 7. Chad Gable and Otis beat Imperium. Now, I know there may not be enough space for this one on one of Triple H's notoriously tight PLE cards, but if WWE did fancy a fun, spontaneous match to break up the action a bit, how about this one? Above anything, this would fulfill the important purpose of ensuring that Chad Gable remains in Gunther's peripheral vision. While they say you can never have too much of a good thing, I think it's wise WWE allows Gable and Gunther to breathe while your champions of the world get some shine. A win here, preferably by submission, would also allow Gable to get some of his heat back after suffering a loss to Bronson Reed the other week. But contrary to the direction WWE seemed to be going, this loss should not come at the expense of Imperium's long-term health as a group.
Stop trying to break up Imperium!
There is honestly nothing to be gained from splitting Imperium up, so it maddens me to see WWE tease going this route. So please, WWE, stop teasing dissension and instead have Gunther just give him a slap, a talking to, and have them all be a happy family once again. Don't break up Imperium, please. Number 8. Drew McIntyre's turn continues. One creative direction I have been much more excited for is Drew McIntyre's slow descent into heeldom. Seeing Drew not save Jey from a Judgment Day beatdown and this week doing the same to Kofi from Ivar, just glorious, and nothing too overt to definitively say right now anyway that Drew is a heel. But hey, despite the delicious teasing going on, the trigger must be pulled eventually, and it should come at Fastlane. While not currently seeming like he's going to be on the card for the show, that's not to say that the turn can't still happen. Maybe after his actions this week, the New Day call him out at Fastlane in an unannounced segment, leading Big D to finally snap and go full Big D head, destroying Woods and Kofi definitively. Or if WWE wanted to really freshen things up a bit, Drew could follow up on his comments on Raw in which he called Cody Rhodes a hypocrite and totally lay him out during whatever match he ends up being in, because he will be booked in a match, won't he? This could finally move Cody away from the Judgment Day and give Raw a major feud going into the autumn, one that also plays into the larger story involving Jey Uso's redemption on Raw. Number 9. The Witches win the tag titles. In retrospect, I think it's clear WWE absolutely made the wrong call having Isla Dawn and Alba Fire not win that unification match against Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler back in June. Because yeah, despite some highly entertaining work from Chelsea Green, the tag titles have been once again stuck in a spiral of misfortune ever since. But hey, it all makes sense now. It was in fact Fire and Dawn who cursed the titles all along, you see. It was all a plan. Meaning that Sonya and Liv's real injuries were just necessary casualties. Rad. This alone lays some nice groundwork for Fire and Dawn to immediately win the tag titles off the makeshift team of Green and Niven, holding them until one of the aforementioned injured stars comes back, to which they can go for some witchcraft-induced revenge on the Scots. Curses aside, the most justifiable reason to put the titles on Fire and Dawn is that they're one of the very few actual women's tag teams in WWE, and in all honesty, that's more than enough for me at this point. And number 10, maybe something happens with Jimmy Uso that makes all of the story make sense. While Jey Uso is flourishing on Monday nights, the same cannot be said for his evil twin Jimmy on Fridays. Sure, on paper, he's in the main event angle on SmackDown involving John Cena, not much to gripe with there, but come on, are we just expected to ignore the fact that absolutely nothing he's done since SummerSlam has made any sense whatsoever? After publicly ragging on Roman Reigns both before his betrayal of Jey and afterwards, why on earth would he suddenly just want back in the group, and why would Roman even allow him? Surely there has to be something bigger at play here. Surely Jimmy has a master plan to make all his backwards motivations for his actions over the past 2 months to make even an iota of sense. Because after years of storytelling excellence, the Bloodline saga is kinda in the pits at the moment, something obviously not helped by the forever AWOL tribal chief. So yeah, my final booking request is simply that: have Jimmy make it all add up. What that entails exactly, I have absolutely no idea, but all I know is Triple H & Co., you need to at least try. And that's our list. How would you book Fastlane? Let us know in the comments, and while you're there, subscribe to the channel for more and like the video, and check out last week's list where I take a look at 10 fantasy booking pictures for Jade Cargill in WWE. Here's a clip. A WWE newcomer, which naturally, of course, raises the question of how they're going to use them. The person in question this time